Hello everyone, Catweazle here, welcome to the channel and welcome to our brand new playthrough. Yes, we are going to be playing Gloom of Kilforth. Really looking forward to this one. Yes, it's the first edition, Gloom of Kilforth. I backed it on Kickstarter about a year or so ago, and it arrived a few months ago. I haven't played it yet properly. I haven't had time, so this will be my first play, which brings me into, yes, this is not a learn to play video. I will try and get as much right as I can. If I make any errors, I will try and correct my mistakes as we go along, but please do not tune in if you think this is a learn to play video. It isn't. It's an old man having a laugh on YouTube video. But hopefully we will have a good time and I won't get too many things wrong. But if I do, please point them out and I will do my best to correct them in future episodes. Okay, let's get on with the setup. So, what's the first thing we do? Well, the first thing we do is set up the board. Now, I've already done that, and it consists of 25 location cards. The main location card is Sprawl City here, which is in the middle, which has a yellow card holder on it. Now, all of these have got different coloured card holders on. The reason I've done that is it just makes it easier for me to see them through the viewfinder, because all of these locations are colour coded for terrain. So I've given Sprawl City a yellow marker because it doesn't have a specific terrain. I suppose it's urban if anything, but as it's the only card, it's the only card with a yellow tag on it. So that's in the centre. All the other 24 location cards are arranged in a 5x5 grid around it. Now, you do this randomly, so you just shuffle them up and put them all around. I've done that. All the location cards are sort of double-sided because they have a full colour side, like here. We've got Barrow Moor, and if we flick it over, it has got its gloom side, hence Gloom of Kilforth. So that's its gloom side, and that is its normal side. They all start the normal side up. We'll just go through the location card. So I've given it a card hold here that's blue. It's because it has a blue terrain symbol here, which means it is a plains card. There are 4 types of terrain. There is forest, which is green. There is plains, which is blue. There is badlands, which is purple, and there is mountains, which is red. So you will see these card holders of various colours. Should help you when you're watching the video to know which is which. It's not a problem if you're playing the game normally sat at a table. It's very easy to see, but obviously I'm videoing and I'm also looking from behind a camera viewfinder, so it's a lot easier for me to have these on, and also I think it'll make it a bit easier for you guys when I pull the video out like I've done now. So that is your location card. It has the name of the location. This is Barrow Moor, for example, and they may have some text down here. For example, this has a lava canyon, which is another of the locations. It's just got a little note here, and the special text on the bottom here says heroes may perform one move action here to move directly to the lava canyon. So this is a sort of a shortcut. Yeah. So that is what a card looks like. Normal side, gloom side. So we'll put it back there. So after you've shuffled them and placed them, like I have done here, that is your board. Obviously you get a bit of flexibility and a bit of variety in the fact that whenever you play a game, you'll get a different layout of all the locations. But these are the locations as laid out in our game. We'll go through it a bit more as we play the game, so we'll zoom in on each location as our hero moves there. So we've set up the board. What do we have to do next? Well, next what we have to do is we have to pick our hero. So because it's the first game that I've played, I thought I'll do what I normally do, especially in video games. I thought I'll pick a human. Yes, I'll pick a human warrior. Normally the warriors are the easiest to play because they just go out and biff people in the head, and I pick a human because, well, humans are normally the generic race and all the other races like have funky stuff that make them different. But let's have a look. I thought we'd play the female So here is the female human. Isn't she lovely? Lovely golden eyes there. And here we have human. We've just got a bit of text here. The men and women of Kilforth are used to warring with other races. They fight to maintain a hold in these troubled lands. I'll just quickly go through what all these symbols mean. These are our abilities, and this one at the top is fight. So she's got 3 fight, which means she will roll 3 fight dice. She's got 3 study, and she has got 2 sneak, and she has got 3 influence. Now, as well as picking your particular race, we also pick what class we are. As you know, we've picked warrior. But just a few more things on this card. She's got 4 hit points to start with. That is just a starting value. The hit points do go up as you play the game. And she starts with 1 gold. That's what that means down here. So let's have a look at the warrior card. Now, as you can see, we've got an extra 2 fight here because she's a warrior. So you see, and you can actually put the cards like this. So they are, yeah, 2 plus 3. So you know we have got 5 fight dice now. So we've got a human warrior, 5 fight dice. And of course, all the other classes will have different benefits that will also stack with whichever race that you pick. Let's have a look at the warrior class. It's Marshal. So when we come to our skills, we can choose from Marshal skills. Let's just read the flavour text. In these dangerous times, only the strong and battle-hardy live long enough to thrive in the perilous wilderness of Kilforth. So there we go. So that is our hero. It is Cassandra of the Rose is what I've decided to call her. So we'll put Cassandra down here. Now, because Cassandra has 4 health, she gets 4 heart-shaped tokens here. You'll also notice that there's 4 black-shaped heart tokens. Those are her action points. You have the same amount of action points as you have hit points. So if you lose hit points, you will lose an action point. So try and keep healthy. That is the way to go. There are also 4 of these blue tokens shaped like sand timers, and those are fate tokens. You can spend a fate once a round in order to gain a success, but they're one-time use only. You can also spend rumour cards as well, I think, in order to get a success, but you can only do it once per round. There's her gold. So we've got a gold token as well. At the moment, there's nothing really you can buy with 1 gold. You need at least 2. So we will have to go out from Sprawl City adventuring, because Sprawl City has a special bit of text which says you can actually go shopping. But as we can't buy anything for 1 gold, we're not going to go shopping. There are some other tokens here, which are cardboard tokens with a skull on. What these are for is occasionally while you're adventuring you will bump into strangers. Now, strangers don't immediately attack. You normally have to have an influence test, but if you fail your influence test, they get pretty cranky. And yes, you probably end up turning them into enemies. So when you turn a stranger into an enemy, you'll use one of these tokens, just plonk it on the top, and then you know it is now an enemy. As we are a warrior, and we biff things on the head, we will probably turn quite a few strangers into enemies, but we'll see how it goes during the game. So, as we, how do we play, and what's the whole idea behind it? Well, we go exploring around Kilforth because we've got a baddie to defeat. But before we can actually get to the baddie, we have to sort of complete something that's called a saga, and that is a set of 4 adventures. So what we've done is we have taken this saga, which is called Take Fortress, Saga Chapter 1. I'll go through this in the actual gameplay video, which will be next. But suffice to say, to complete a saga, you have got 4 chapters, and then you've got sort of a final denouement, where you storm the keep and take the fortress, hopefully. And once you've done that, then you can take on the ancient evil. But you've got to finish this first. Yeah? So We'll go through these in order as we complete them, and then right at the end we will attack the ancient one. So we're on Saga chapter 1. As I say, I'll go through that in the actual first gameplay video. So that's the Saga. We've picked Take Fortress because that's recommended for your first game if you are a martial character, and the warrior is a martial character. Oh, one last thing to mention, sorry, is the skills. So we take the martial deck here, and as you can see, you get up to 4 types of skill. Well, there's actually 8 types of skill, but they're split into blocks of 4. As you complete a saga, you are allowed to pick from these sort of different levels of skill. So once we complete Saga 1, we will get a choice between Hunter and Prize Fighter. Yeah, we'll pick one of those and that'll become a skill for us. So as we go through our sagas, we will get more and more skillful, and we will get more and more items, and hopefully we will get stronger and stronger and stronger, and strong enough to take on the ancient evil. So I'll put this up here because we do not start with a skill. We have to pass our first saga chapter to get a skill. Talking about the ancient evil. What's all that about? Well, let's have a look at him. You already know who it is because it's the name of the video series. Yes, we are taking on the Marquis of Pain. And he has 5 fight dice. This is the main reason why I'm taking on the Marquis of Pain. The other ancient evils that come with the game have more fight dice and are a bit tougher. But it's our first game, so let's start with the easy one. So the Marquis of Pain is our starter. He has 12 hit points. If you actually look over here, I've put 2 red dice over here and they're on their 6 faces to indicate where he is up to. So he's on 12 hit points. That can increase. There are things called plot cards, which I'll briefly go through in a moment, and they can increase his hit points, they can increase his dice that he rolls for fighting, and in fact they're pretty bad. But as it stands, without any help, he's got 5 dice for combat and he's got 12 hit points. He's an ancient, and when he comes on the board, he comes on the board at Barrow Moor. If you defeat him, you will get 10 gold, but that is more for, I mean, you've essentially won the game if you beat him. That is more for, you know, calculating victory points. So if you fight him again to see if you get, you know, more victory points and do better than you did last time. So he's an ancient and he's a demon. The Marquis of Pain was born from the first drop of blood shed by man and has grown into a living embodiment of agony. He is patiently gathering his masses of slaves into a terrible army whose sole purpose is to inflict suffering and despair. So he's a bit of a meanie, isn't he? Now, he has some abilities, so let's have a look at those. So, when you battle him, right at the end, you go to the map square, which will be the Barrow Moor, and when you get there, there's a trap. Yes, and you will have to sacrifice 1 item. But hopefully by that time we'll have a few items and there'll be one that we don't mind getting rid of. Then the Marquis of Pain gains +1 maximum and current hit points for each enemy and enemy token in play. That is a type of encounter card, and if there are loads of them in play, then he's going to get his maximum hit points are going to go up, and he's going to get HP as well. So it's not a question of he'll go up to 20 hit point maximum and still be sat on 12. No, he goes up to 20 as well. When a battle round starts, each hero loses 1 hit point. So every round that we are fighting him, we will lose 1 hit point. So we need to be tooled up and we need to finish him off quick. Hit point damage stays on the Marquis of Pain after battle. Now this is more for the cooperative and competitive games where there are more than 1 player, because a player could go in and get defeated, and instead of him sort of going back to full hit points, the next player could then, you know, sort of scoot in and try and defeat him. So always stays, the damage always stays. In the night phase, there are 2 phases in the game. There's a daylight phase and a night phase, and the night phase belongs to the Marquis of Pain. So he obviously gets some benefits in the night phase. When a mountain location falls into gloom, place one random plot card on it. As I mentioned, these plot cards are bad. They give benefits to this guy, and they need to be gotten rid of before we actually battle the Marquis of Pain. And the Marquis of Pain will heal 1 hit point at night. So say in a cooperative game, one guy went in, got defeated. You can't wait too long before you send your second guy in, because if you do, he will be regenerating hit points every night phase. So those are his abilities. We'll just put him to one side. We mentioned plot cards. These are the plot cards. And these are all for the Marquis of Pain. As you can see, they're all sort of emissaries for him. They're like minions. So you've got the Sculptor of Pain, the Acolyte of Pain, the Patron of Pain, the Reaver, the Seeker, the Flayer of Pain. And they'll all do things like give him an ancient ability. So if you don't defeat this before the final battle, the Marquis will get +2 maximum hit points if the Sculptor of Pain is still on the board. So we need to defeat these as quickly as possible. They're not as strong as the Ancient, obviously, so if you can get there to the mountain location where it spawns, wherever that may be, then you've got to try and kill it. So those are the plot cards. And what I do with the plot cards, I'm just going to pop them on a card stand like that, and all that does, it just reminds me that these go onto mounting spots. Yep, so if a mounting spot goes into gloom, it gets one of these. Right, put that up there. Okay, what's next? We've done the hero, we have done the Marquis of Pain. So let's go through some of the other decks that are in the game. As I mentioned, we've got all the locations here, and they've all got a terrain associated with them. There are 4 terrains, and let's have a look at them. These are the encounters, and they're colour-coded for each terrain. So obviously it's green for forest. The others are exactly the same, and they've got all the sort of same thing in them. You can run into strangers, which I mentioned. They are not immediately antagonistic towards you. As I say, you normally have to do an influence test or something, but if you fail the influence test, then they will probably turn into an enemy and you will have to fight them. As you can see, they've got the terrain token on them, and they have some text. They have their hit points. If they are actually a stranger or an enemy, they'll have hit points, and they have their own abilities here. We'll go through it more in the actual game itself rather than do it now. But there are other things. There are quests. So again, you will make a test to try and complete a quest. When you do these tests for any of these cards, and you've got place as well, and enemy, this guy, you will fight him straight away, and events, and you also have events which also will kick in. So all of these things you can pick up when you move into a location. You normally have to perform a test, and if you pass that test, you will take the card as what is called as a rumour. So it comes into your hand, but it's not an asset. An asset means you can actually use it. Yes? You can still use rumours, but it's just as discards normally. They're like payment. So if you need one of these keywords, for example, which are down here, in order to complete a saga, then you can spend a card. You can also spend rumours in order to gain a success. So say you were doing another test and you had one of these in your hand, you can actually discard it once per turn to get an extra success. So that is a way of getting extra successes. We'll see that during the game. So it's just for the moment though, it's just important to realise that when you get one of these cards, it's not immediately available to you. It's in your hand and it has some uses, but you'll actually have to go to a particular area in order for them to work for you. It depends on the particular card. Obviously they're all slightly different and they've all got slightly different instructions that go with them, but generally as a rule, rumours, they tell you at which location something is available, and if you go to that location, then you can discover it. Once you discover it, then it will go properly into your hand as an asset. So you could find some armour, for example, that goes into your hand as a rumour, but you can't use it as armour because you haven't got it yet. You just know where it is on the board. You have to go where it is on the board and pick it up. So then it will become an asset and you can use its abilities. Right, so there we go. As I say, all the others are exactly the same. Plains, Badlands and Mountain, exactly the same. Over here we have other decks where we can actually gain items, we can gain allies, titles or spells. We'll just have a look at the ally deck. Now all the allies cost 4, so you could actually buy them from Sprawl City down here, which is a market, but we've only got 1 gold at the moment, unfortunately. So you've got all different types of allies here. And when you buy them, if you actually buy them from the market, they become an asset immediately. But otherwise, it may be that in order to, you hear a rumour of an illusionist at Open Heath. Yeah, so you could have this in your hand as a rumour, but you'd have to go to Open Heath and search for the illusionist. Then you find him, then he joins your party. Yes. But until such time as you go and discover him, he just remains a rumour. So there are the allies. It's very similar for the items. They're just things like armour, jewellery, weapons, that sort of thing. Titles, that is when you go to one of these areas and you'll get a fancy title. Let's have a look. For example, oh look, it's a knight. And that is Tristan Hall, the designer of the game. Hello, Tristan. So, he's a knight. Isn't that nice? So, and you'll get that title. So if you went to Barrowmoor and you succeeded in actually getting this guy onto this title onto your team as a knight, you will get these benefits down here. There's a bit of flavour text down there, but you will now be a knight. So that's what a title is. So we'll put that back as well. And we also have spells. Spells, self-evident, they're just, you pick them up. Once you've discovered them, they're an asset and they're in your hand, then you can actually use them during the game. So those are the main decks, but there is one deck left. Yes, the game gets a go at kicking your head in, just like any good cooperative game. And here is the Gloom of Kilforth Mythos deck. It's called the Night deck. Now there are 25 cards in here because every time you turn over one of these cards, one of these locations goes to Gloom. Remember, it's black and white on the back, so you'd flick it over. So say the Spine Ridge Pass went into Gloom, you flick it over, and if you ended your turn, so if you entered the night phase and you were in Spine Ridge Pass, you would actually lose -1. -1 hit points. So you don't want to camp in the Spine Ridge Pass when it's passed into Gloom. You don't want to camp anywhere that's passed into Gloom, to be honest. So if we pulled this card, for example, Orc Raiders, this would get placed at the Wretched Bog. The Wretched Bog would fall into Gloom, and we'd have an enemy to deal with. Yeah, it's got all its usual abilities that we'd have to look at, its hit points, and where it is, obviously, the Wretched Bog, how much money you get for defeating it, and the possibility of a reward. So you pull these every night phase, yeah, and one of these will fall into Gloom. It also acts as a timer, because once you've run out of night cards, that's it. So essentially, you've got 25 rounds in order to defeat the Ancient One, who is over there. So that is the night deck, and as I say, that will be pulled at the end. That will be pulled at the start of the night phase. During the daylight phase, that is when we get to go. That is when we get to use our action points, explore Kilforth, try and get as many items, allies, spells, titles as we can, and we will work towards getting the requirements for each Saga chapter. So for Take Fortress, we need 5 gold. and we need keywords. So mountain, plains, enemy are the keywords that we need. I'll go through that in greater detail in our first turn. Then, once we've done that, we go through all the sagas, we achieve the denouement at the end, and then we fight the Marquis. Dun, dun, dun. And hopefully we'll be in a pretty good position. We won't be too beat up. We'll have quite a few items that will help us, and we'll be able to put a severe hurting on him. Right, so that is pretty much it. Apart from, we actually start with well, we're allowed to pull 2 of these cards. We could pick 2 out of any of each of the decks. You pick 2 from one deck, or you could pick 1 from one deck and 1 from another deck. Then you choose which one you are going to keep. So we're going to do that. Now, I think we'll go for an ally. So we're going to pick 2 from the ally deck and just pick 1. The only reason I'm doing this, really, I should pick an item for a warrior because there'd be a chance of getting, you know, a decent weapon or some armour. But I'll pick 2 allies because I like to role play a bit, and it's a lot easier to role play if there's 2, so they sort of bounce off one another. So we'll do that. So we've got a choice between the smuggler. Hello. So she'd give us +1 sneak. She's an ally. She's shadow. She's got a deed. I'll go through deeds during the game. It's like a sort of free action point. And you can become hidden. Dread pirate Zara Rose was moving inland to forge a new reputation from fresh opportunities. But this is a rumour, remember, we could find her at the Lonely Gorge. Our second possible ally is the Swashbuckler. So the place is overrun with pirates. He's got +1 fight and he's got +1 influence, so he could be pretty good. He's an ally, he's a martial ally, and dashing, brave and adventurous. Farago the Swashbuckler made a handy and amusing travelling companion. He can be found at the Hidden Woods. So we take either of those 2 to start the game with. Now, we're at Sprawl City. Where's my pointer? We're at Sprawl City here. So perhaps somewhere that was quite near would be good. So where's Lonely Gorge? Lonely Gorge is up here. So it's only 2 away. We've got the Dread Swamp, or the Dead Swamp, and then Lonely Gorge. So she is to be found up there. And the Hidden Woods, where are they? That's the Shrouded Glade, Blessed Grove, Lost Forest. Hidden Woods are 2 over here. So they're both 2 away. Oh, one thing I haven't shown you is obviously our standee. So there we are. There's our warrior standee. Again, I've used one of these card holders. You don't need them. There are actual standee holders with the game, which are excellent, by the way. I'll just show you one. The only reason I'm not using it is I need the colour to be able to see through the viewfinder. These are the standees that come with the game, and they're brilliant. They're miles better than Arkham Horror or Eldritch Horror ones. Look how easily they just clip on like that. There is no pinching of the actual stand itself. The standee is fine. It doesn't get any marks on it like you get with Eldritch Horror and Arkham standees. They are excellent. As I say, normal game, I would cheerfully use those. They are excellent. I'm just using this for video purposes. Right, we shall put her back at Sprawl City, where she will start the game when we do turn 1. Okay, so which one of these are we going to pick? I think we're actually going to go for the Swashbuckler. So we'll take the Swashbuckler, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put him sideways here. So we know he's a rumour. When I place cards down here, we'll know that they're an asset. He is currently a rumour. So we know there's a Swashbuckler in the Hidden Woods. So if we want to go and find him, get him on our team, make him an asset, we have to go across to the Hidden Woods and do a discover action. The Smuggler can be discarded. Okay. Righto. So that is it for setup. So I hope you're looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to it. First game, I've read the rulebook a couple of times, watched a couple of YouTube playthroughs, Rolling Solo and One Stop Co-op Shop. Colin, One Stop Co-op Shop, brilliant job. Go and check them out. And also Ricky Royals and Marcus J Play. They did playthroughs with the components when, you know, it was still being like finalised and stuff. There's not been too many changes since then. They were using prototype components, but all of it is pretty much the same, and it's the same basic idea. So watch any of those and you will get a really good idea at how the game plays. Probably better than watching me. But we're just going to have a roleplay fun experience. That's the plan. Right, so thank you for watching. Thank you for all the views. Thank you for all the subscriptions. Thanks for all the likes. Thank you for all the dislikes. Thanks for following me on Board Game Links if you go over there to watch the videos over there. And to anybody on BGG who likes the threads with the videos in or makes any comments. Similarly, anybody who makes any comments here on YouTube, thank you very much for your input. If you've spotted any errors or I've said something that is wrong in setup, please let me know in the comments and I will try and correct it next turn. But that is it for the introduction and setup. Next time you see me, yes, we will start adventuring in the Gloom of Kilforth. Until then, this is me, Catweazle, signing off. Toodaloo.